How did you end up in Clipstone?
Well, at the time, we moved down in 1962. At the time, there was a big pit closure programme in the Durham coalfield. So my dad decided to come down here for work. I was 7. I can remember it well, the day we left. And my uncle, who'd already moved down here from Bolton Colliery, come up and fetched us in a Bedford Dormaville van. We're all crammed in there, and he had to stop before we got on the A1 because I couldn't breathe. They'd shoved me in the back with all the bedding. I mean, there was no duvets them days. It was blankets and sheets and everything you'd got like. So, and we got a cat, and the cat got off. We've never seen the cat again. And I can remember when we come down here, we lived in lodgings on Clipstone Village in one of the colliery houses with an old man called Lol Granger. And we had a bath. I can remember we had a bath that night, the 4 of us. And I says, "Hey, Mum, it's got a bathroom." And we had a bath because we used to have a wash a couple of days a week with a geyser and put it in the tin bath in the back room. Well, he only had one room.
So it was exciting to have a
Oh,
bathroom.
it was lovely. And he gave us one room to live in on the side because it was 3 rooms downstairs with a kitchen. We lived there a good few months, and because my dad never come, there was a transfer scheme come where they'd get you a house and rent free for a year for the miners who come in from Scotland and the northeast, which was that was the biggest influx of miners then. It was a pit closure programme, wasn't it? It was ongoing, I think from the 60s. So my dad just stopped. He said, "You know what?" Because the area was run down, you know. I mean, I've just told you, we didn't have hot water running in the house and stuff like that. My mum scrubbing backyards, doing tin baths, toilet down the thing. Then the backyard where all the washing will hang out, and when the coal man come, they had to take it in. And we were talking early 60s here, so things were a bit, yeah. So that's how, that was the first night here. A lovely bath. Mind there was only about 4 inches of water in, but yes. And then...
were you sad to leave Bolton? Did you leave your friends
Well,
behind?
the thing is about Bolton, it sticks with me forever. I had my grandma and granddad, my great-granddad, my great-grandma Granger. My granddad was a Salvationist, and my Nana Lily, that was their daughter, lived with them as well. All 3 of them lived in one of the similar sort of house, so we're very close-knit, you know. Like my mum said, you could leave your door open. Well, there was nothing to pinch, was there? You know what I mean? It wasn't like it is nowadays. But I can remember them stood on the corner waving and crying with the pinnies on. I'm 67 now, so it's 60 years ago. But I'll never forget that. And not long after my grandma Granger, she died. My granddad lived till he was about 98. And my Nana Lily, she got cancer. Yeah. But I used to go up all my school holidays, because I was not stopping down here, even up to the age of nearly 15. My granddad come from up north after, and when we got a house, and he lived with us. So we've got my mum and dad, 4 children, and my granddad in the box room. And I says, well, I used to all my school holidays, I was put on the Barton's bus from here, dropped off at Shields or Sunderland, and got a bus to Bolton and went stopping with Aunt Meanie. And it was lovely. And I says, I'm not stopping down there.
Why did you not want to stay for your holidays?
Well, because, you know, I'll tell you, I think what put me off, when we moved to King John's Road, there was a football field. Ironically, it's near the cemetery where my mum, dad, and my son's buried down there. And we used to play football. Well, I was trying to get a game of football. But you see, I was still got my Geordie accent. What the hell, they wouldn't let me play. And I remember they got us down once and chucked us in a blackberry bush and smothered us with blackberries. I thought, I hate it round here. My first day at school, nobody spoke to us. I can remember, the school's still there. My sisters went. My son went to the same school, Samuel Barlow. They wouldn't talk to us. And then you integrate yourself as you go along and start to accept. Because you've got to understand people accent like I'm talking now, but where I come from, it's like, why I man and all that. So, if you get somebody, it's strange, isn't it? It's strange. So, I found it hard to get accepted. I settled in eventually, but I didn't like it, and I was going to go back up north. My auntie Minnie says, Uncle Bob, because the pit where my dad left never closed till 1985, so we could have stopped. He says, I'm not bothered. He says, there was no money to be made up there, son. There was better money down here. And I'll tell you why I come to the Nottinghamshire coalfield, because I asked him as I got older. He says, because I could have went to Staffordshire, Yorkshire or Nottinghamshire. He says, I come to Nottinghamshire because I knew I'd be working, because it's a moderate coalfield. Whereas Yorkshire was always on strike, and I don't know about Staffordshire, but he chose to come to Nottinghamshire for that reason, because they were a moderate area and plenty of work and good money. So that's what he done.
Was everybody able to get a colliery house?
Who worked at the pit, yes. That's why most men went to the pit. A lot of the lads didn't. I've got friends who never went and had a colliery house, so they could have. They bought one. Easy option money. Got £2.40 a week rent. Like I told you, load of coal. If anything went wrong with the house, go down to the estates and come and do it.
You got the coal for free?
Part and parcel of your job. Part and parcel of the job. I mean, can you imagine now if you work for a company, say, you get your gas free, they'd be queuing up. So that's how it was then. But the community spirit on the village, even away from the pit, was good. Your miners' welfares were absolutely top notch. Clipstone. Your pit trips, your top club trips, they used to do one and all. I've seen 20 buses leave Clipstone village on a Sunday morning from the top club. Miners' families and anybody who was a member used to go. Yeah, so you'd go on the pit trip, your mum would pack all your stuff up, you'd be following your mother with the bags full of sandwiches and boiled eggs and everything for the beach. Off you'd go. The men would go to the club, get off the bus and go to the local wherever they were. Not all of them, but my dad and my granddad certainly did. And they'd come back about 3 o'clock and they'd fall asleep on the deck chairs. On the village at weekends, when you used to go out drinking, and you could go in anywhere. They used to have the Cat, top club welfare. It was all full. I mean, the rooms they had, downstairs they had a big concert room, and then going from there you had a lounge, a piano bar, a games room, and then upstairs for the disco on a Saturday night, typical Saturday night when you were young, courting or whatever. Used to go out, go in the Cat, have a drink, the top club down the welfare. To walk through, all the Odins be there in their normal seats, because you couldn't sit in the seats, If they sat there regularly, you'd get a horrible look. So you'd have Old Man Fingers playing on the piano, then the bingo, and then in the games room, we've got 2 big snooker tables, the bar and the telly. Upstairs, disco, 70s stuff, Rocky Baby and all that, little bar. Sunday, and then we used to go down sort of halfway during the night, walk straight through, go into it was old time dancing on a Saturday for the older people, and the organist, I always remember the organist, he had a funny eye, and drummer, and then used to walk through and used to get pie and peas in the snack bar, sit and eat them. See Mr. and Mrs. Bunce and all the other people who knew, worked at the pit and retired, and some still there. Go back up, finish the night off upstairs. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant times. When you think what pubs are like now, they're never very chock-a-block, are they? Let's be honest. But weekends, I think miners and most people, factory girls. I mean, look at the factories we had. Worked hard and played hard, and then went back to work on a Monday. Happy days. Earn your money. Get your wages on a Friday. That's the culture.
What was it like on the coalface?
Dusty, dirty, but bear in mind we were mechanised then. I mean, we had the machines. I drove the machine before I went on deputies. Had a year on that.
And what do you mean by machine?
You've seen the pictures on a coalface like that. There weren't big seams at Clipstone where the drum goes round and cuts the coal and puts it on the panzer. That goes onto the belt. That goes out and out onto the surface. In number 2 shaft, up the skip, they go to the washing plant. It's just a process, you know what I mean? Right round. But it could be just, if you had any roof falls, that was, a bit frightening. We had a lad at Clipstone. He lost his arm at the pit. We had one at Clipstone, Bernard. He was decapitated on the chair.
So you sat on the machine? Is that what you mean by the
No,
chair?
he crawled. Good day, 3 to 4 cuts. Bad day, get the roof fall, he could be there all day timbering up. Send it for wood to timber it up. Roof bolt it to make it sturdy for the next cut, then you come back to it and really fall in again. But
and was your pay determined by how much you cut?
you were on bonus.
So how did that work?
Well, you cut, it depended how much you cut. You got a certain set amount of money. If you cut over, you got more. I mean, the most I ever made before I went on the deputies, one week we had, I think it was 120 quid bonus, and were wages, and we thought we were millionaires. But I think when they brought the bonus scheme in, it was wrong. For me, that's just my opinion. The lads aren't going to turn money down, and rightfully so. So therefore, on a normal day, when I was on the haulage, you used to take whatever you could in, you got a day's wage for a day's pay. But they changed it. They decided to give them extra to sort of spur them on a bit. But all I think it's done is cost us jobs. I think that's a big factor of it. That's only my personal opinion. Like I say, not everybody's opinion.
And what about your job as deputy then? How was that different?
Well, you're in a supervisory capacity. You have to go in. You'll be on a face, say anywhere, but say let's just take a cold face. You go in, book your men in the time book down at pit bottom, and then it'd be your job. You were there for the health and safety and safe production of coal out of the mine, safely and efficiently as possible. It's your job to make sure you've got enough materials up to keep the lads going. That's both gates. Face deputy overseeing the lot. Made sure everything were running right. Health and safety, any gas, we had to check for gas, to check the roadways, condition, everything to make sure it was safe. Most importantly, that the lads, the face was in a safe working condition, and the lads had the materials they needed to do the job they were there for.
How many were you in charge of?
There would be, if you were face deputy, you'd have 2 material lads, 3 on the rip, 2 in the stable, 7, 2, 3, 4 on the bank, 7, that's 11, isn't it? 3 in the heading or the loader gate rip, 14, 3 on the T-junction, 17, about 19, 20. Well, you could. That's a normal face team, but you'll have other men coming on the district, like rope men. Your diesel drivers would come in, bringing stuff in, track layers, stuff, 20 to 30 men a day. But there'd be you, if you're running the face, there'd be you and your 2 gate end deputies, so there'd be 3 deputies. And don't forget, you'd have your chargeman in every team. You'd have at the feeder gate end, you'd have the ripper, chargeman ripper. You'd have a chargeman loader gate ripper at the other end, or a heading, you'd have a chargeman. There'd always be one got a little bit extra for being in charge to make sure the job was done. It was pretty, on a good day, you know, for us running out, it was great job, make everything, but you had to fill in reports in every shift, deputy's cabin, all your reports. If you're at the gate ends, you had to phone up at snap time on a day shift to the clerk who used to do it, Lawrence, who lives along there, fill in what they call a material sheet in, you know, split bars 100, you just run through it and you tell them what were there, so that could be passed on to the next shift on afters. If they're short of stuff, they'd get it in. You were basically communicating with the next shift all the time, from days to afters to nights. On a night shift, when you're a deputy, you used to have that early shift, 8 o'clock, where you'd go in, the afters had finished, you go what they'd done, a pre-shift inspection. You'd inspect everything was okay. If it wasn't, you'd bring it through.
Did the guys treat you any differently when you became deputy?
No, I'd worked with a lot of them lads. You know, I suppose there's one or two get a bit animosity, but no big deal. I've got broad shoulders. But no, I never got a lot of trouble. It all depends what sort of person you are, doesn't it? If you're going to be a bit bossy and I'm in charge and all that rubbish, that'll get you nowhere. Work with the team, be part of a team. So.
What was the story with your finger then?
Oh well, I'd gone in with the diesel drivers with the flat to load. It was a gear head from the feeder gate on the Panzer gear head, which was a big heavy thing, and we had to take this new one in, bring the old one out, salvaging it. And we lifted it. We got Beckeritt track, which is about that wide. Right, I lift with him. I says, I'll give a lift. Don't shove it until I tell you. It was just spurting blood like that. I thought, I feel a bit dizzy. Anyway, long story short, went out the pit, went to Mansfield General, and they give me an injection, give me a medical scrub and trimmed it back, and I could hear them like that on the bone. Nearly a year later on, the bone was grown through. I ended up in Derby. Mr. Burke, who done Prince Charles's hand, took it back to there, and I lost it because of that. No big deal. Lad lost his arm. You don't see many miners without fingers missing or something like that because, and then the story was, I thought, well, where's me? Because it says, where's your finger end? I says, I don't know. When I got to the hospital, and one of the lads, he put it in one of the crisp packets at snap time, and he was passing it round. He says, anybody want a crisp? And they picked the bloody finger end up. That's the sort of thing they used to do, you see. Ronnie's finger, it should have gone with me because they could have might have stitched it on. I don't know what they'd done, but it's done and dusted in it a long time ago. And that was my last shift at Clipstone, the 7th of February 1992. Comrades, they're proper comrades. And that's one thing I miss, because, and any miner will tell you the same, you used to have your ups and downs. You could be nose to nose and fall out, but you know what, it'd be sorted and that's it. There was no grudges or anything like that. And it was the same with the village. It was a good community to live in.
If the pits were still open now, would you have recommended it as a job?
Yeah. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Yeah, even though I've been out a long time, yes, I would. Look, them young lads, you know, they're going all over the country for work. And it's sad. I was proud of my upbringing, I was proud of my background, and I still am. I'm still proud of I'm proud of all my history within my family and within the communities I've lived. Got many, many good friends, and you never lose them. I mean, I've got friends now, seen them for years, but because I worked at the pit with them, you see them, hey, how are you going on? Always pleased to see you. Seen a lot of men pass because one thing or another with injuries at the pit and old age and stuff. But yeah, happy times at Clipstone. Happy times from being a kid. Well, from Rundown, bit of a bumpy ride to start, never wanted to stay there, but enjoyed my school days, and yeah, it was okay. It was a good close-knit community, but coming from a close-knit community, the downside is everybody knows what you're doing. That's the downside. But another upside is people do look after one another, you know. But yeah, if you live on a village like that, closely knit, people do know what you're doing. But anyway, my abiding memory with Tony is sliding, because where Clipstone Village is, the pit tips used to come right to the bottom then, before the reclamation thing. So I can remember going down there with some sandals on, pit belting, sliding down the pit tips. It was soft and all, you know. Lost my sandals and got a good hiding off my mum when I got in. And I'll tell you something else we used to do at Clipstone. There used to be the tubs run, taking all the slack from the pits. You've seen them before, haven't you? You've seen them. all the muck goes up on the pit. That's how your pit tips are formed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Well, in them days, in the 60s, they still used to have the buckets. We used to run up there and hang on the bloody buckets, going over the pit tips. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do that nowadays, would you? You'd get shot.